Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called The Wealth Concealment Industry. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure you click on that subscription button and the notification bell so that you get notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's get started. Every time people turn on the news or go online to read the latest news stories, they see stories about how the government is planning new ways to tax their income or to tax their assets. Generally speaking, in case you don't know, assets are things you have already paid taxes on previously. So this is making people and companies more and more paranoid than ever before, given how badly everyone has struggled financially during the last year and how difficult it was for them and many companies just to survive. One of the largest online retailers in the world is now planning a major strategy to try and counter all these new legal, political, and financial strategies that the White House is working on to break them up as a company and to impose draconian new taxes on this company. If that weren't enough of a problem, you will find this really entertaining. Somebody recently released the tax returns of some of the wealthiest people in the world. Try and think of a billionaire. Any billionaire that comes to mind? Well, chances are their taxes were recently released publicly in a major publication. And so there's no way to hide now the fact that most of these people paid little or no taxes. If that wasn't embarrassing enough, then these same billionaires also own some of the largest companies in the world. And guess what? Those companies pay little or no taxes. What this does is it effectively proves to the poor and the middle class population once and for all, without any doubt whatsoever, that they're the only ones paying any real taxes in this country. One can reasonably conclude that most major companies and wealthy individuals probably don't pay much in the way of taxes at all if the information in these leaked tax reports is true. Now, that's not new information. People have known that for years. But it is particularly insulting given how many people and small and medium businesses have been financially wiped out by the pandemic. And despite that, some politicians want to impose new taxes on people who clearly haven't yet recovered from what happened to them last year. So now that the threat of having new taxes levied against them has been made, a lot of these people are focusing on how to prevent that from happening. So how are they doing that? Well, many of these individuals and small and mid-sized service companies are retaining the services of financial experts who specialize in tax mitigation. Now, in a situation like this, the phrase tax mitigation is just code for tax avoidance and asset concealment. Because there's so many wealth taxes being considered now or planned by cities, states, and countries, it's become clear that many poor and wealthy people are about to have their assets confiscated. While the politicians will call this a tax, the wealthy and the middle class will call this taxing an asset that has already been taxed previously. So because of this, every week now, company boardrooms and CEO executive suites and conference rooms and companies across the country, they're having these really discreet meetings and presentations. What are they doing? They're bringing in experts who can show them how to avoid or mitigate or hide their assets and their income, legally hide their assets and their income from these new regulations, which everybody feels are coming. Now, sometimes these experts will show them how to conceal their ownership of their money or their assets. And sometimes they will show them how to convert their assets into crypto, gold, and diamonds. Sometimes they'll take it a step further and they'll show them how to move their money offshore and create fake companies who will then lend the money back to them in a non-taxable way. So some individuals are converting their money or assets to gold and simply burying it on their property somewhere. They'll GPS tag the location, and hopefully it'll still be buried when they come back there a few years down the road. Some people are converting some of their cash into loans, which they then give to a third party. When you loan someone money, it's much more difficult for the government to impose a wealth tax on that money. If it's simply sitting in your bank account, then they can tax it or seize it as much as they want. But if you loan your money to another person or company, then that makes it a bit harder for them to tax it or take it from you. Now, those are some of the more legitimate tax mitigation techniques being explored by these entities. There's also a long list of completely illegal ways to avoid taxes and wealth confiscation. These are practices that drug dealers, criminal organizations, and other entities have been doing for many years already. The difference now is that normally honest people and companies and entities whose backs have been put up against the wall and who may have been driven to near bankruptcy by the last year are now so desperate that they're exploring many ways of limiting that problem, to put it politely. Some of them are considering converting their assets to a more concealable and transportable cryptocurrency. Some of them are looking at diamonds. Some of them are thinking about purchasing more front companies and shell companies and then laundering their money through those entities. Do you know what very few people are doing? Very few people are pouring money into the stock market. Now, some major companies are buying back their own stock, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the notion of investing in Fortune 500 companies' stocks as a way of building wealth. That's not a viable option anymore because people are afraid of those stock holdings being hit with new taxes. It's really entertaining to watch how a lot of Fortune 1000 companies who built up enormous cash reserves and billions of dollars by ripping off the public for decades now by selling them terrible products and overpriced services, these same companies are now going to have that money seized by the very aggressive authorities. It's sort of like karmic poetic justice unfolding before our eyes. If it appears that all the experts, consultants, and sleazeballs out there who are going to try and help people mitigate their taxes are about to become very busy as the demand for their service explodes, well, you're right, they are. So with that, I want to thank you for watching. I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our free channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. With that, I want to thank you very much for watching and tell you that we shall see you soon. Bye-bye.